I knew the rule the moment she said it. You don't cross the desert at night. Not for anyone. But she was standing at my fence, shaking, out of breath, looking over her shoulder like someone was still coming. She didn't ask for help. She begged, "Take me through the night," she said. And that's when I heard it. An engine somewhere in the dark. I should have turned her away. That's what a smart rancher would have done. Instead, I made a promise, one that broke every rule I lived by. Because when the sun finally came up, the desert didn't just show us the road, it revealed who was hunting us and why only one of us was meant to walk away. Stay with me, because this night didn't end at sunrise. The night begins. I had lived on that stretch of desert land for almost 20 years, long enough to know its moods, long enough to know when the wind meant trouble, and long enough to know that nothing good ever came from traveling through at night. The sun was dropping fast when I saw her. I was closing the north gate, dust on my boots, hands sore from a long day. The sky was orange and red, burning low over the sand. She stood near the fence line, still, like she had been there for a while. At first, I thought she was lost. That happened sometimes. Hikers, drifters, people who thought the desert was smaller than it really is. But when I walked closer, I saw her face. She looked exhausted, not just tired, worn down. Her clothes were dusty, her hair pulled back tight, like she didn't want it touching her face. Her eyes were wide, alert, the kind of look someone gets when they've been afraid for too long. "Sir," she said. Her voice cracked just enough to make me stop walking. I asked her if she was hurt. She shook her head. "No, just please. Please always comes before trouble." She told me her car had broken down miles back, said she'd been walking since midday, said she needed to cross the land to reach the highway on the other side before full dark. I told her no. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't argue. I just said it plain. You don't cross this desert at night. She looked past me, toward the land stretching out behind the ranch house. Flat at first, then broken, dry washes, rocky cuts, places that looked harmless until you stepped wrong. "I know," she said, "but I don't have a choice." That was when she said it. "Take me through the night," she pleaded. "I can't stay where I was." I asked her why. She hesitated. Just a second. But I saw it. Fear. Real fear. "There were men," she said, "near my car." I didn't ask more. I didn't need details. I looked at the sky again. The light was fading fast now, purple creeping in. Every rule I lived by said no. Every hard lesson I had learned said turn her away and call it done. But I also knew something else. Leaving someone out there at night was a death sentence. I told her to wait by the porch. I went inside, grabbed my water pack, a flashlight, a radio, a jacket. When I came back out, she was sitting on the step, hands clasped tight, staring at the ground. I stopped in front of her. "We'll go slow," I said. "We'll stick to the washes. And we turn back if anything feels wrong." She looked up at me. "I'll do anything," she said. I nodded once. "I will," I said. "I'll take you through the night." The sun slipped behind the horizon, and the desert went quiet. Trust forms in silence. Night in the desert is not loud. That's what people get wrong. It's quiet in a way that presses against you, like the land is listening. We walked single file, me in front, her behind me. I kept the light low, just enough to see where the ground dropped away. She didn't talk much. Neither did I. After about an hour, I could hear her breathing change. Shorter, shallow. I slowed down. "You good?" I asked. She nodded, didn't speak. The moon came up thin, just a slice, not enough to help. We crossed a dry wash where the ground gave way underfoot. She slipped. I grabbed her arm before she fell. She froze when I touched her. "I'm sorry," I said quickly. She shook her head. "No, thank you." We kept moving. Time stretched. Out there, minutes feel like miles. At one point, she asked how long I'd lived there. "All my life," I said. "My father before me." She asked why I stayed. I thought about that. "Because the land remembers you," I said. If you listen. She didn't reply, but I felt her trust settle in. Quiet, heavy. Around midnight, we stopped to rest. I gave her water. She drank like she hadn't had any all day. That's when she told me more. Not everything, just enough. She had left someone, a bad situation. She didn't want to go back, didn't want to be found. I didn't think they'd follow me, she said. But they did. I asked who. She didn't answer. I didn't push. The desert teaches patience. We started again. That was when I heard it. An engine. Far off. Too far to see. But close enough to know it wasn't imagination. She heard it too. Her step slowed. They're still out there, she whispered. I turned off the flashlight. We stood still, breathing low. The sound passed, faded, but something had changed. The night no longer felt empty. It felt watched. When rules are broken, about 2 hours before dawn, things went wrong. We were cutting across open ground. No cover, just sand and scatterbrush. That's when headlights flashed in the distance. Once, twice, she grabbed my sleeve. They found us. I didn't answer. I pulled her down behind a low rise. We lay flat, cold sand pressing into our chests. The light stopped, then moved again, slow, searching. My radio crackled softly. I shut it off. My heart was pounding, not from fear, from anger. This was my land, my rules, and someone had decided they didn't matter. The lights came closer. I made a decision right there. Not a smart one, but the right one. I stood up. I walked toward the lights. Slow, hands visible. The truck stopped. A man leaned out the window. "You seen a woman?" he called. I shook my head. "This is private land," I said. "You need to turn around." He laughed. "We're just looking." I stepped closer, then looked somewhere else. There was a long pause. Then the truck reversed. Slowly, like a threat, they drove off. I stood there until the sound was gone. When I went back, she was shaking. I gave her my jacket. "You didn't have to do that," she said. "Yes," I said. "I did." Because that's what the desert does. It tests who you are. The truth comes out. We reached the ridge just as the sky began to change. Gray first, then pale gold. She stopped walking. "This is far enough," she said. I told her the highway was still another mile. She shook her head. "If they see us together in daylight, they'll know." That's when she told me the rest. She hadn't just left. She had reported them. Smuggling. Violence. She was supposed to meet someone at the road. Protection. The men weren't just angry. They were desperate. The sun broke the horizon. The desert burned red and gold. We stood there in silence. I pointed to the road. "Follow the wash," I said. "Don't look back." She hesitated. Then she hugged me. Tight, brief. "Thank you for keeping your promise," she said. I watched her walk away. The desert swallowed her. What remains? I walked home alone. The land looked different in daylight. It always does. Like it forgets what it did to you at night. A week later, federal trucks came through. Questions. Searches. I answered what I could. Nothing more. I never saw her again. But sometimes, when the sun rises just right, I remember her voice. Take me through the night. And I remember my answer. I will. Because some promises aren't about rules. They're about justice. And the desert always remembers who you were when the light was gone.